Hello and welcome to UK Fitness Hub. My name's Travis Tarrant and today we're going to be talking about calf strains and pain and how to relieve symptoms quicker. Let's get into it. So whether you're watching this video and you've got tight calves or you've got sore calves and you're looking at how to stretch them out and how to aid recovery, this video is for you. But if you're also somebody that has or fears that they might have a strain, then this video is also for you as well. Now let's get on to strains first. So for a muscular strain, they're put into three categories: grade 1, 2, and 3. Now, grade 1, I would expect somebody to make a full recovery in about 10 days. Now, some people with grade 1 tears don't even put ice on them. They simply realise they have pain, stop doing any physical activity, and it gets better on its own. Now, of course, you can aggravate tears to become worse than they are. So for somebody with any type of tear, I would always advise cold compressions, especially if you've actually noticed the injury form as part of maybe a sport and you know you've injured yourself. Straight away, go onto ice compressions to aid inflammation. Now, for a grade 2 tear, it's a little bit more complicated. Anywhere between 10% and 90% of a tear is classed as grade 2. Now, that is a massive range and discrepancy, and that's why the range between recovery times is so long. It can be anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks. Somebody with a grade 3 tear, that can be a complete tear of the muscle, or alternatively very close to complete, would be classified as 90 plus of a tear. Now, somebody with a grade 3 tear, if you're worried and you think, oh my God, I might have a grade 3 tear, you would be in hospital and you would be straight in for operation if you had a grade 3 tear. So if that doesn't sound like you, don't worry too much about it. Now, there are many different reasons why we can get tight calves and strains, and a couple of reasons really are sports, the gym, improper warm-ups. So let's take sport, for example, and a basketball player. Basketball players are prone to Achilles injuries and calf injuries because they're constantly doing explosive direction changes when they're doing movements. Now, for somebody that, for example, has muscular tightness, it could be footwear when you're running, or it could also be somebody, let's take, for example, somebody that works in high heels all day, adaptive shortening of the calf, also improper warm-ups. So if you're somebody that goes into the gym, doesn't do any type of a warm-up and then does HIIT cardio, that can be someone that gets muscular soreness quite quickly. And also as well, people that fatigue. So let's say, for example, you're on a run and your form's really good and you're trying to do a distance run. All of a sudden in the second half of the run, your form starts to dip and you get more and more tired. That can also be a cause for concern when it comes to developing tightness. If you are somebody that has a calf strain or tear and you are kind of quite new to running, make sure that you have enough time between the runs and space them out. I often see people who come into the clinic and they say, Travis, you know, I'm trying to do 0 to 5K, I'm running every day and my calves really hurt. And they've gone from doing nothing all of a sudden to running every day. And for them, their body just cannot cope with it. So actually having somebody like that space out the workouts, they actually recover better and they don't see people like me as often. Now let's get into some of the exercise techniques that we can do to relieve pain, but also to strengthen the calf.
If indeed you are watching this with an injury, it's really important that from the onset of pain, you ice the injured calf muscle. The reason we ice injuries is to reduce inflammation and swelling. This in turn helps to relieve pain. Icing can be used for strains, pains, overuse injuries, muscle contusions, and even bruises. For the best results, ice 3 times daily, morning, afternoon, and evening for a total of 3 to 5 minutes. If you fear you may have a more serious injury, you can elevate the leg whilst you ice. Before we get into stretching, it is important that we assess the current flexibility in the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles. To do this, set a tape measure laid out from the wall and begin kneeling facing the wall with your shoes off. Begin to bring your knee in contact with the wall and slowly move your foot as far away from the wall as you can until you reach the limit of your flexibility. This will occur when your heel wants to elevate or you can no longer touch the wall with your knee. Remember to always keep your heel on the ground as you stretch. Take a reading from the back of your heel with your tape measure, and you can refer to this at a later date to see if your flexibility has improved. All of the following stretches and exercises are in order of progression. The safest stretch for the calves is an active style stretch. And active stretches are often used in the early stages of injury due to the fact that they are far more gentle. When you point the foot forward, you are contracting the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles, and when you point the foot back, you are stretching these muscles. Complete 15 to 20 repetitions with slow and controlled form for up to 3 sets. All stretches we're going to cover can be done daily. Next up, and a little more challenging, is a banded stretch. I'm using a resistance band here, however you can use a towel, belt or similar object. Loop the band around your foot underneath your toes, then begin to pull back and hold the stretch for 30 seconds. Do this for 3 times over, and the more you pull the band, the deeper the stretch, so ensure you only go to a range that is comfortable and you start off gently. Next up is a gastrocnemius stretch. I would advise keeping your shoes on for this one. Find a step or a ledge, then bring one foot back so the heel is off the step. Begin to drop the heel as far as is comfortable. You should start to feel the stretch through the back of your leg. When doing this, it's more effective to hold on to an object for balance, which allows for greater control and focus on the stretch. You don't want to be worrying about your balance as you're doing this one. Repeat for 3 sets, 30 seconds over. The next stretch is not too dissimilar from your previous stretch. The key difference is it targets the deeper soleus muscle. To do this, bring your heel close to a step or a wall and elevate your foot up. Once in this position, keep your leg completely straight and begin to bring your hips forward. The closer your heel is to the step and the more you bring your hips forward, directly dictates how much you'll feel this stretch. Hold for 30 seconds for 3 sets. Moving on to exercises, first up is plantar flexion with a resistance band. The primary action of the soleus and gastrocnemius muscles is to plantar flex the foot, so it makes perfect sense to rehab the muscles in exactly the same way, through plantar flexion. I would highly recommend a TheraBand on this one, as they come in a variety of different strengths, and you can use those strengths to progress. Imagine you're gently pushing on an accelerator pedal when you push your foot forward, then make sure to return to the start position in a slow and controlled fashion. Start with 15 repetitions and work all the way up to 3 sets over. The next exercise is a little more tricky. We're moving on to eccentric lowering under body weight. Start off with one foot off a step in the same position we were for our gastrocnemius stretch earlier, and then with your other foot, bring it outstretched in front of you. Start to lower the heel of your foot on the step. Here's the important bit. Rather than pushing up from your heel, I'm going to use the free leg to return me back to the start position. Eccentric exercises have great uses for injuries as the body can tolerate more loading. Eccentric simply means the lowering phase of an exercise. Our last exercise will be for those nearing the end of rehabilitation. This is calf raises. In this variant, I'm using a step up and I have my hands in contact with the machine for balance at all times. Then when I allow my heels to drop down off the edge of the step up, I'm purposefully going really slowly to control the lowering phase, and I take my time also when elevating. The final elevated position is reached at full extension, and all this means is simply being on your tiptoes. It's important that you don't allow your heels to drop too far down, or that when you elevate, you don't do this too fast. Keep everything slow and controlled in the ranges you can deal with comfortably. Work up to 10 repetitions at this pace 3 times over.
That concludes the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. And if you are somebody that's struggling with an injury, I hope you feel better soon. Now, I produce content on physiotherapy, and there's loads of videos that I'm going to try and cover over the next few weeks and months. If you're interested in physio or how to get better or the best out of your body, make sure you subscribe. And if you learned something new or valuable from this, please leave a like. If you have any questions for me about anything in the video or something about your circumstances, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. I'm Travis Tarrant and you have been watching UK Fitness Hub.